Hey there, fellow entrepreneurs. I'm Sue, and you've just stepped into Entrepreneurs Gone Wild. Every week, I'll introduce you to a friend of mine, a remarkable entrepreneur who's not just changing the world, but also harnessing a secret weapon, time outdoors. Together, we'll dive into their journey, unpack invaluable business advice, and discover why embracing the wild is not just good for the soul, but also a goldmine for inspiration and innovation. Ready to uncover the secret that's boosting bottom lines and fueling joy? Hit subscribe and join us in the wild.
Hey there, folks. This is going to be very, very fun. I am so excited to get to introduce to you Kendra Desirée. She's a soul purpose coach devoted to guiding multidimensional, heart-centered individuals toward their highest purpose. Kendra works with those seeking deep fulfillment and a meaningful impact in their lives. Her expertise lies in helping clients align their actions with their soul's true calling. Get ready to meet a coach who's passionate about transforming lives by helping people embrace their authentic selves and manifest their deepest aspirations. Kendra, welcome to Entrepreneurs Gone Wild. Really happy that you're here.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
This is going to be really fun. So we're going to start with the question I always start with, which is, who are you serving and what problems are you helping them solve in their lives?
Yeah, so exactly what you said. It's for, heart-centered visionaries, people who have a deep calling to do something meaningful in the world. They feel called to either be of service or make an impact on people, to help people in some way. And I'm helping them really realize that and how that can look in the real world and how they can put it together and actually show up and share their magic with others or with the world.
That's really cool. And I love that, in the real world.
Yeah.
Because, so many of us entrepreneurs, it's like we have great visions. We have an incredible driving passion. Oh, I want to help these people. And then we can hit a roadblock. So what does it look like? Somebody finds you, they're working with you. What does that look like?
Yeah, so the thing about the soul journey, because a lot of my stuff is very, it's soul purpose, right? A lot of times people hear purpose and they think, oh, just a career, a job, but it's not just about that. This is really for soul-led entrepreneurs who are looking to do something that feels authentic and that feels like an expression of who they truly are at their core. And so it's a little different than your typical entrepreneurial, the idea we have around that is kind of just business and money. This yes, has that component, but this is deeper. This is a calling. Like you said, it's a higher calling. It's, my soul came here for a reason. Now, what is that reason? So we really connect with the truth of what that looks like and what that feels like. We really get back into the heart. That's a big part of it, because we kind of talked about the visions. It's very beautiful, but that kind of can stay in our head. And this is really, how do we bring that into a rooted, grounded reality, but which is based off of our heart and our intuition and based off of the wisdom that we actually have within us.
Oh, that's amazing. And so, yeah, and I could see people could kind of get stuck in their head with this. And then it's like, all right, well, I've got this thing, this baby I want to birth and put out there. How? So are you working with them on the practical, make a business plan, do this, or here's some ways that you could serve your people, identifying your person, here's an offer you could make. What is it, what does it look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a couple different offers that go over different things. Some people, that come to me, they want to know what their purpose is, but they don't really know what they want to do with that. They don't know if it's a career or if it's a business. So I actually have a short, 4-week soul purpose activation, which through that, we really just get to the core of it. Again, what is that calling? What does it look like? What are your gifts? And how do you share them in a way that feels the most aligned and authentic for you, that's natural, that feels really good? So that's a really cool way to kind of intro into purpose work. But I also have a 3-month, The Alchemy of Purpose, where in that one, we connect with the purpose, but then I do take them through a soul-aligned business blueprint, which does go over the core offer, how do we create a signature offer? How do we actually, the basics, the things that I think kind of get overlooked. I feel like there's a lot of people in the beginning stages who feel like they want to do something, but they feel like they're almost overlooked. People are always like, how do you make 6 figures and how do you actually do, scale your business, which is great. But there are a lot of people who are sitting in that beginning stage who are like, how do I actually just start? How do I create the thing? What does that look like? And so I'm really passionate about helping people like that because I truly don't want anyone to feel left behind. I don't want people to feel like they had this dream and that they never brought it to fruition.
Mhm.
So this program is really about that. That's kind of the core of what I'm doing right now, is working with those people who are aspiring to lead and aspiring to share. But yeah, it's really the practical, but it is the soul too. So it's a really amazing like combination of how do you bring your soul essence, your soul work into the world, and then how do you create the blueprint to bring it to life? The offer, the clients, what does that look like? Setting that the foundations, and then we work on confidence to actually share it, because that's a huge piece that I also think is missing, where people are like, okay, now I have the thing, but I'm a little bit scared. I have imposter syndrome. I'm feeling perfectionistic. So we really work through all those blocks too.
That's so, so good. Because it's so wild. Like, I remember a time when, like, the only coaches that were out there, it was like a sports team. Like, like the average person, I remember the first time hearing about a life coach and I was like, what? I'm sorry, what? It was so kind of foreign. And now this is not the case at all. There's so many, coaches out there, or I guess that's the best way to put it is, coaches, guides, that type of thing. So it's definitely become a little bit more, higher in our awareness. People are aware, hey, I could be this, I could hire this, that type of thing. But there's still that sense of, wait, when you have like a passion, some work, that has, your journey, whatever it is, like this, the angle that this comes from, it can feel really unnerving. Like, all right, do people want this? Like, is this a thing? Like that's got to be one of those first questions. People going, is this a thing? I feel like I could help somebody with that. Is that a thing? Like,
oh, absolutely. All of that. I think that you're right. I call it actually the new paradigm of purpose. That's what we're in now. It's like we actually we're aware we have all these options. There's all these possibilities. We can make a business happen right from our phone. And so there's this unveiling of what's possible, but there's a lot of still questions of how do I make this? How do I bring this to life, really? And and do people want this, and will they want this, and what does that look like? Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. And then all the other things too, like, well, how much do I charge? How do I find people? How do I communicate like that they can trust, like build any sort of trust? Because there could just be anybody standing out there, hey, I'm a coach, I'm a coach, I'm a coach. And it may not, it may not be a thing for them. This is so cool that you're doing that. I think I've talked with others of my guests and some of my clients as well. One of them specializes in kind of helping women who we joke that it's kind of a woo-woo based, business. So, because in the past, nobody would have gotten that. They've been like, what? Kind of like modern art, like people get paid for that, like that type of thing. But it's real now. Like this is, people have the, different skills, different passions, different modalities that they're working with. And a lot of it takes place in the unseen world. So, it's, how do you market a thing like this? So I'm so glad that you're there to kind of help your clients figure out how to bring this thing, like you said, into the real world. That's amazing. How did you get to where you are right now? This probably was not what you came out of the womb doing.
I know, it's always the kind of $1 million question. Like there's not like a simple answer almost, right? I always say it's my life journey that led me here, and it's really following the nudges. It's following my own calling to, explore what led me to the next exciting thing, to the next thing that I was interested in. And you don't always, to this day, we don't know always like what's, many steps ahead. We just know the next few. And I think that's a big thing that people need to know, that you can't have it all figured out, because you're going to learn more through actually doing it and through taking steps forward than by thinking about what that's going to look like, So you have to just follow the intuitive nudges that lead you to one place. And so my background, is really extensive. I worked in corporate for a really long time. I also worked in marketing for over a decade. And so there's a lot of psychology to that, right? And to understanding, that you're actually helping somebody discover something that they need that can help them. And it's really interesting because that's sort of a red thread through mine is is helping people see things that can help them, but also creating experiences. I loved to curate experiences. I did event planning as well. And so I realized that I just wanted to help people enjoy life and to find more meaning in things, and to find like the purpose of why they're here, and to enjoy it as we go as well. I feel like that's so important and so overlooked often, is just slowing down and remembering, the little things. And so coaching was sort of one of those things which I'm a coach, so that's what I'm doing. But I started my business in 2017 as a blogger to share, because I thought I want to share and help people in some way. I just don't know what it looks like. But kind of got burnout really early on, because I was juggling a full-time job, another side job. I had a blog. I was trying to do all the things, that boss babe hustle culture, as we've talked about, and realized this was not it. Like, I just couldn't show up fully. And then, the calling was still there in the back of my mind. And so eventually I listened and I started to create my business.
That's amazing. That's so cool. And I love it. Like, you are walking the exact walk of your person, having these nudges, and well, tried, kind of went there, and that didn't quite feel, like it was sustainable and what I wanted to do. But, we bump into walls, turn around and go around the corner, basically, which it's kind of neat. So
like that, knowing I think that's we say, meant for more. I feel like so many people feel that they're meant for more. They're meant to do something bigger. And it's just really getting clear on what that looks like, especially for the multidimensional, multi-passionate folk like myself, who are like, I have so many things. How do I actually make a clear, plan, or like how do I put this all together in a way that makes sense? And that's a huge thing that I love to help people with.
That's so great. Yeah, I mean, it's like, we go through life, we start picking up different skills and talents and gifts that we've had. We start seeing that. We were like, oh, I helped with this, I did that. And it can be really hard to kind of like, okay, now I need to come to the marketplace. What label am I going to throw on this thing? Is this a thing?
Yeah, definitely. You were like, oh, there's niching advice all over the place. And then there's picking that lane, or do I choose that lane? Or what does that really look like? And many components of that.
That's so great. And so when people are working with you, is it one-on-one, or is it in a group container?
Well, right now I'm really focused on one-on-one. Honestly, I just really like it because the work, it is pretty personal. Everyone has a different journey, and so our purpose is all going to be different. And so right now I'm just really enjoying being able to really have that like intimate relationship where I'm able to really help people figure out what is their story, and like how do all these experiences of their life make sense, and how are they all tied to their purpose. And so it can be it's much more personal that way. But eventually there'll probably be some group stuff too, but yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I always feel for like coaches, because it's such a hard thing. The one-on-one is so incredibly effective because, like you said, it's so personalized. Like, them. You can, and then in a group, but you're one person. So in a group, all right, now you've got the benefit of you can reach and impact more people, but it's a little bit less, there's not the one-on-one component. It's a little bit less personal. And then, okay, well, even with a group, you're still limited. So, okay, what if we did, a standalone, on-demand kind of course? Well, okay, still fantastic, wonderful input that you can put, but there's not that back and forth necessarily, so it can be a challenge to find, what's the modality I really want to work with here.
Yeah, this is like a really prime time too, because I do think that what happens is you start one-on-one a lot of the time, and people often will, there's just so much demand that you go into group, and that's like the natural progression. But it's just that what I'm currently doing, I'm just kind of doing what I feel feels good right now. But it's also a really exciting time because I don't know how long one-on-one will last. And maybe, a year from now it won't even be available anymore. So it's just really cool to be able to have that option right now, that I can work with people and be able to offer this on such a deeper level.
Yeah. Oh, that's huge. And then you get the transformational stories too. So I'm always thinking in the marketing, you as a former marketer as well, it's always, like, ooh, testimonials and case studies, and, that's so great.
Yeah, and that's kind of, and it's funny because I'm in it, but I also help people with that, right? So it's like to know that once you have done something enough times, there's obviously patterns that emerge, and then you realize, well, that's how I can make that a course, because now it's easy to know exactly what somebody needs. But all of this is experimenting essentially until it becomes such a well-oiled machine that you actually know you can kind of predict almost like how that
Yeah.
will be done and how that'll be able to be packaged up in something that is very, very like valuable and
Yeah.
such an impact.
Oh yeah, that's huge. It's so funny how many things in business are really like a mentor of mine said, life is kind of like a circular staircase, and we're standing at the bottom, right? So we can see a couple steps up, but you can't see the whole thing. And you were saying, like, this is how our journeys go. But in business, it's like that. In our marketing, it's like that. In the offerings that we have, they were always basically on a circular staircase or 10, right? So, man, so how are you, what's worked well for you for marketing, for attracting, like, your people come to you and they're like, oh yeah, I'm totally working with her.
Yeah, like what stuff have I tried?
Yeah.
It's been kind of what we're talking about. It's the thing about, being an entrepreneur is like why they say it's like not for the faint of heart is like you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and you have to be okay with the unknown. So everything is an experiment, which is great for me because I love experimenting and I'm so curious and I love trying things and seeing what works. But yeah, it's for me, it's just trying to, my focus personally is really more about connection and community over everything. Like, to me, I would rather help somebody, and get a closer look at somebody and what they're really looking for, rather than just trying to sell something. And that's, again, the soul-led way of doing business, and that's just the core of what I do. So it's been just a lot of connecting with my audience on social media, which, I've had a lot of connections through that. So I'm, most active on Instagram, but I've been experimenting and playing over on TikTok, and I have been, which I kind of, I didn't for a while. I was like avoiding that world. And then I was like, now that I'm there, I'm kind of wishing I did it sooner, and, I'm over on Facebook, but, I really have done some market research stuff, which has been really amazing because it's a good way to connect with people you wouldn't otherwise. And I think it might be something that not everyone is doing and implementing, but it's actually really, it's a great way to just connect with people who are looking for the exact thing that you offer. And then also building an email list and creating fun things for people to engage with that becomes part of an email list. I'm actually working on creating an entire newsletter right now. I'm calling it the Muse-letter.
I like it.
But yeah, I think there's just so many things to try and see what kind of is working.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. And I like that approach too. It's very, it's kind of like organic. I love, it's like, all right, you plant a seed here. How's that working? Or you plant, diverse seeds. So you're growing a bunch of things at once and see, which things work well and, in your life, in your energy, all the, and then, oh, I didn't really like that so much, but a lot of experimenting like that. I think that's really, really powerful. And you said the magic word, which is curiosity. So if that, when we're being driven by curiosity, it helps us, I think, to actually be able to have those conversations with somebody, where are you stuck? What can I help you with? Like that kind of thing. And then also, with, well, I'm curious, if I do this, what will happen? Cause and effect type stuff in our marketing.
Yeah, and also not being too attached to the outcome, like practicing sacred detachment, because also that's where we can get stuck with hoping for, or vanity metrics, thinking, oh, if this thing doesn't perform well, then I'm a failure. And it's just not seeing things through that lens. But I also think a really amazing mindset shift, and that I help people with as well, is this is the long game. When you, again, are a soul-led entrepreneur, this is really a calling. And so it's not like, how can I make this thing happen really quick and make an income really fast and make sure that I can quit my job tomorrow? And it's no, slow down. It's okay. We are in it to win it. This is the long game. And I think that can really help feel, take off that pressure a little bit and make it more fun, which I think a lot of the focus for me is, how do we do this without, again, burning out, feeling like it's so overwhelming, but how can we have fun too?
Yeah. Oh, that's huge. That's so huge. Where do you see your business going, 5-10 years?
Oh my gosh. As a visionary, which is my first archetype. So I work with these archetypes in my programs, that's just amazing. They're so fun and people really like resonate with them. So
Mm.
visionary is one of them. That's mine. And so it can make you go like, wow, there's so much vision. But yeah, I see a lot of things. It's hard to pinpoint like exactly how it'll happen. But right now, my plan is to continue coaching and growing that. But I also want to share more. I have a lot of stuff and stories and things that haven't been put out there yet. And so that's where the podcast, through my own journey of finding my purpose, you learn a lot. Like, you learn not only the archetypes which is how you actually share things with people easier. So like visionary is my first one, teacher is my second, and artist is my third, which the top three really give you this picture of something that is very tangible. You're like, oh, I can see exactly how all three of those play out in my work and how I can apply them and actually lean into them more and express those things more. It's helped me so much. And you also learn your mediums. Like, do you do best with writing, or is it speaking, or maybe it's coaching, or maybe it's planning something. It's just the mediums are major. And so through my own journey, I learned that it's the communication, it's speaking. And I used to be a writer, so I thought, oh, I'm a writer. I love writing still, but I'm like stepping into speaking more. So who knows where that'll take me? Maybe, obviously, the podcast. I want to have a podcast, maybe this year even. And then maybe I'll be speaking on stages. We don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I could see that. That's really cool. Maybe live events.
Yeah. And events is huge for me too. I still do little things. I always love to plan like little women's gatherings and new moon and full moon stuff.
That's so cool.
Kinds of things. So I can see that expanding though, into something that's more of like a retreat style,
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's so cool. And I talk with other people. I've got actually becoming close friends with somebody who's building a retreat center for entrepreneurs also. And hers is very, like feminine oriented, feminine energy. And it's like there are going to be so many places soon where you can just go, this is what I want to do. Here's the place. They've got it for you. Like it's going to be, I love that there's kind of this groundswell of, coaches who want to put on these events and people who want to host them. It's exciting to watch the industry go. But so I wanted to ask you too, like, how do you spend, the best ways that you spend time outdoors where you're getting great ideas and just, relaxing into your soul, feeling all the things that make you come alive. How do you do that outside?
Yeah, like I just have to say, I don't know who I would be if I did not spend as much time outside as I do. I wouldn't even be the same person. I mean, it's one of those things where when I started going on walks, nature walks every day in like 2020, it was when this all changed. And it was pivotal because I feel like my life before that I was a different person. But going on walks and being outside and slowing down and having that time to actually, hear my intuition and receive the downloads and messages and the creativity, it's just profound because we live in a world, we're so distracted. Our attention is going everywhere at all times. It's one of the only times where we're truly present, I feel like. And so, yeah, I mean, it's such a priority for me. It's such a major part of my life. I feel like sometimes when I tell people who don't do it, they're like, that's so silly. Like, that's so simple. And it's like, it is simple and it's life-changing. That's how important nature is. It's, we forget that we are nature. And so connecting with nature, being in nature is us just, we're all in one and unity with that. And there's something about that that's innately creative, actually. And so it allows those channels to just open and you can just receive so much from that.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So, you're out on a walk, you get a kind of it's like a download, right? An idea, a creative spark, a nudge, something like this. Do you have a way that you capture this that works really well for you? Because I laugh that up. Like the biggest joke and lie ever is, I'll remember that.
Oh no, I don't even. I have like a creepy good memory. Just saying. But even though I do, I'm still not even willing to let a good idea go. So yeah, I am so attached to my notes app. I mean, that's the easiest way, right? But my notes app, if you saw that thing, it is insane. I mean, and then I do try to transfer it into more of a, practical list with the categories and things and organize it, but so I'm actually, something I started doing in the past year that changed a lot for me, was really helpful, was starting to do a voice memos instead. Or sometimes I will just record videos. Not that I'm going to even post them, but capturing it through my voice can be much quicker. And just the flow of consciousness, the flow of thought coming through is actually just, sometimes it's just effortless. And so speaking, again, knowing that's my medium, that's like my top medium, it's easier for me sometimes to just do that. So I love all these options, but I can't not capture it. Like I just can't not. And so sometimes in bed, I don't know if you experience this, but like those sometimes are when your thoughts are coming in as well. If I will literally be like, oh, another one. Okay. But it's a good problem to have, but I'll grab my notes app and just put as much as I can, just dump that out of my brain.
I love that. I love that so much. Yeah, I wake up some mornings, I'm like, oh, I sent myself more emails. Let's see. It's like, or the voice, it's like, oh, but yeah, they hit you, and you're like, I agree. There's no way. Once you've been, I feel like these sparks are gifts. And it's like, if I just drop it through a crack and it falls into the storm sewer or something, like, what a shame. Like, I want to make sure that they're treasure, really. So
Absolutely. I heard this thing about ideas once, that a lot of people are receiving the same ideas at the same time. And so what happens when you hold on to an idea and you don't do anything with it, you end up seeing someone else maybe post something about that or say something, and you're like, oh, I thought that was great. And that's just one little thing that might help somebody be like, oh, I do need to get my ideas out there, because someone's going to, because we are receiving sometimes similar wavelengths of thought.
Yeah. And I love it too. And it's not even a matter of, the first time I heard, I think it was like Michael Jackson and Prince, one of them had a great idea at like 2 a.m. for a song, and they already called their whoever, and they're like, hey, we got to do this. And they're like, man, it's 2 a.m. Why are you calling me about this now? Oh, because whichever the other guy was is down the hall. He's sleeping. He's going to wake up with the same idea and he's going to do it. And it's like, I love, and it's probably apocryphal. I don't know if its story is true, but it drives that home. And the first time I heard it, I heard like competition, like, oh, I got to do it before they do it. But really, all right, so what if Michael Jackson and Prince had both gotten the same idea? Like, it would have come out completely different for each of them. It would have been amazing, because they would have brought their unique stuff, to making that song happen. And it's the same way here. It's like, just because somebody else, like when I met Natasha, who's building the retreat center, I could have been like, oh man, somebody else has this idea. All right, yeah, I'm a couple steps ahead of her because we were on the land, whatever. But it's never been like that, because, we're so, I think there's this spirit of collaboration, and like, if we're all aimed at fixing a problem for somebody that we love, like, great, there's more people doing it. Like, and it's just such a different thing. But yeah, that capture, like that, I love that you have that vision too, of like, you get these ideas, that's a gift, and it's to be treasured and worked with and implemented. And man, that's cool. And then you're helping your clients with that.
Well, exactly. And, what you just said actually is really important. And it's a huge part of my work, is why, there's no such thing. I always talk about like soul purpose is kind of like a soul signature. We come into the world with unique thumbprints, right? And fingerprints. It's the same as our soul's all different. So the way we express an idea is going to be different no matter what, because no one else is us. Yeah. And so that's one thing that is important, because some people will get hung up on the comparison, thinking, oh, it's saturated, it's oversaturated, everyone's done it, or maybe, there's no such thing as a new idea. But there really is, everything coming from you is new, because no one else is you. So exactly what you said is so important for people to know.
I'm so glad you're out there, sharing that message, because that's how things, that's how people get out of their own way, I think, is seeing just these little paradigm shifts like that. That's huge. All right. Where can people find out more about working with you?
Yeah, so I'm most active on Instagram, and that's at Kendra Desirée. My website as well has a whole list of my services that I'm currently offering. That's kendradesiree.com. And so right now I do have the 3-month, The Alchemy of Purpose, which is where you bring your soul's purpose into a soul-aligned business and actually create that and what that is and bring it to life. We also have the 4-week purpose activation, which just helps people really tap into their energy, their essence, why their soul came here, and what that can look like for them, regardless if that is channeled into a job or a business or whatever else that might look like. It can be anything. So there's a few different offers right now that are really exciting, but that's where they can find me.
That's awesome. Fantastic. Well, guys, you're here for a reason. Might as well find out what that is and pour that into your life and your business, and go talk with Kendra. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate getting to know you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much.